secure people deal with rejection by viewing rejection through the lens of feedback. So we're viewing it through the lens of self-awareness, reaction versus responding. We're responding more than reacting. That's security, responding more than reacting. And then thirdly, deal with rejection by viewing it as feedback. What is this person's no exposing in me? Okay. What is this person's no shining a light towards in me? And now we have the ability to be able to let go of whatever we are giving this person's rejection permission to control. If we look at it and say, what is it exposing in me? Because believe it or not, rejection did not change you. It just exposed you. Okay. I'll put it into this analogy. If you have a tea bag and you put it in some hot water for your hot tea, the tea was not changed by the hot water that you warmed up in the microwave or that you had on the pot, whatever, however you make your hot tea. The hot water did not change the tea bag. The hot water just drew out the contents that were already in the tea bag when it was dry and untouched. Flavoring the cup, flavoring the area, potentially flavoring the home. What is the point I'm making? Is that when pressure is applied in life in any given direction, it is oftentimes exposing what's already in you. And if it changed you, it's because of the power that we gave to this experience that it was never supposed to have in the first place. Okay. And so what we're given the permission to do is look at this and say, yo, this person told me no. What is it revealing? And when you're moving deeper into your security, you'll realize the more and more that you experience these rejections. What's up, user? Appreciate you a ton. Thank you for sharing the live. Good to see you. The more that you experience rejections and people telling you no, and then your ability to remain calm, centered, relaxed, and not cling to the variety of stories that you might be rushing to tie to the meaning. Oh, they had someone else. I'm not enough. All the things that we listed earlier from places of reactionary, you'll realize that oftentimes it can, if you're not there yet, it'll expose that you still have some room to develop and grow. But once you get to this place of stillness, calmness, relaxation, and you are completely okay, you're not performing, you're not putting on PowerPoint presentations to tell somebody who's almost out the door that they need to stay. Here's why you need to stay. I got 10 reasons why you need to remain. I got 10 reasons why we should keep going the distance. I'm going to keep proving and proving and proving. When somebody walks out and you let them, and you are okay regardless, you go on about your day, you still getting sleep at night, you're not ruminating over everybody and everything. This doesn't mean that you won't have thoughts flash across your mind. It just means that we won't cling to them so much that we'll zoom in on all the specific experiences and then make that the legitimacy of our direction, what our future is, maybe even our life, what's available for us relationally. You'll actually realize I'm good. Okay. So when we're looking at this as feedback, it's either there to expose us or it's there to also, here's the thing, confirm in us the work we've done. Here's the beautiful thing about the levees in the Hurricane Katrina. Nothing was beautiful about Hurricane Katrina. But when we look back on those experiences and we realize the integration systems that were underneath that were designed to hold and withstand natural disasters that it ended up not doing, which is also known within that integration system as the levees that broke. What's so interesting that I've learned looking back on that experience is that the levees weren't tested properly to determine if they were even at the condition they needed to be to withstand that storm that overtook the city. To this day, as far as I know, and I could be wrong, I don't want to spew any kind of information, but it's very possible that those levees aren't still aren't in good condition. Why am I telling you this? Because in order for us to know that we have progressed, there has to be a moment of testing to confirm the work we've done and either help us see more work that needs to still be done, or to see that we can handle that which we've grown capacity for. It happens through testing. So the feedback time that we experience in relationships, opportunities, jobs, business adventures, posting content, wherever and everywhere you go, use that as feedback because it's giving you information on not just where you are, but for some of us, how much more we may need to lean in to overcome the wound of rejection. And regardless of where you are, if there's a little bit more that you still need to lean into, it doesn't mean that the previous experiences, healing, lanes of growth are a waste of time. It just means we have another layer to go. And we can still look at that and celebrate how far we've come while recognizing there's a little bit more that we still want to address. And it doesn't take years to do, y'all. It doesn't take years to do. It starts with us being honest about the emotions, honest about the stories, reattaching different stories and reframing the experience. I know they said no to you and I know you really wanted them. What else could it mean? Secure people are oftentimes asking the question, what else could this moment mean? What else could it mean? I know that I might be quick to say that it means I don't mean anything, but let me take a step back. And before I need to even utter that out of my mouth, rehearse that in my mind. What else could this moment mean? It could mean that this person wasn't prepared. It could mean that there was a lack of capacity and lack of compatibility somewhere. Not everybody is saying no because they don't know what they see. Some people are saying no because even though they see it, it just doesn't work for them. And we have to accept the reality that we are not everybody's cup of tea, just like everybody isn't our cup of tea. That is okay. Just like I don't want you to settle for anything less than what you want. I don't want to live a life settling for anything less than what I want either. And if that just happens to not be each other, we can learn to be okay with that too. Okay. I love this. Sunset Quote says sometimes it's hard because they say heal before, but you can't practice if stay alone, not date. Come on. Come on. This is why it's very important. One of the greatest things to heal through your lens of rejection is not always having to take a step away from everything. You have to actually engage in the very things that can have an opportunity to tell you no. Rejection therapy is just getting out there and being open to people telling you no. That's one of the best ways to overcome it because you're going to constantly be exposed to various layers of people telling you no and what it's exposing in you. And we just engage with it. Okay. For sometimes there can be a season where we need to pull away and we need to be able to recalibrate. But one of the best ways to overcome rejection is not by being alone. One of the best ways to deal with rejection is putting yourself, your stuff, your content, whatever it is that you're working on, that you're afraid of people saying no, giving critique to, whatever it is. We got to put it out there. Let it be seen. Let it be seen. Let people say what they say. Let people react the way they react, because that's all feedback. That's all feedback. That's how secure people are going to look at rejection. Finally, okay, we said feedback, responding more than reacting, okay, and moving in self-awareness. All right. Finally, secure people deal with rejection, okay, by having fun. As small as that sounds, okay, and we'll explain it. Secure people experience rejection by having fun. What does having fun mean, Coach? By living onward. What does that look like? By recognizing that my fulfillment does not come from the basis of your yes or no to me, but my fulfillment comes from something greater than me that gives me the position and the qualifications, the ability to live beyond your no to me. This means that my peace does not hang in the balance of somebody approving me. This is why a lot of y'all can't get any rest or relaxation until somebody you've met with, okay, is excited and approves of everything you do. This is why the moment somebody tells you that they don't like something, you quickly agree that you don't like it, even though that's not you. Oh, yeah, I don't like that either. It makes sense. Oh, you like that? I like that too. You become a chameleon and you don't stand on no foundation. You don't stand on no stability. You have no grounds and you go with the wind. Because I'm more afraid of somebody telling me no and viewing me in a negative way than I am standing on what I believe, what I like, where I am, and what I'm also growing in. Learning to have fun is actually coming from a place of living in fulfillment. Living in a fulfillment that allows you to not trade in the peace God's already given you for somebody else's approval of you that either can't see you clearly or doesn't want you. Having fun with rejection and having fun in the ability to move forward and having a positive relationship with rejection. I know that sounds funky, but having a positive relationship with rejection gives people the permission and room to be honest with you, say no to you, and be able to move forward without you and you still being okay. And all of that is based on you being full without needing them to be a certain way. So the best way I'm able to have fun and engage with rejection in a very lighthearted manner without taking it so personally, without clinging to there's no meaning that I'm nothing, I'm not enough, I'm not worth being chosen. No more good men out here, no more good women out here, no more jobs out here, no more investments out here. My business will never get off the ground. I can't do, can't have. It'll always be, it'll always have. Okay. We learn to move forward with a perspective of having fun by attaching a new meaning and reframing story to the experience that is a reflection of abundance instead of lack. That is all coming from a place of fulfillment where I'm full as is, and anything else that anyone can give me is additional to my life, not necessary for it. So at any point you start moving into this position where somebody that you're connected with, all of a sudden everything they say is not only gospel, but everything that they do that is with you is some type of symbol that you have some kind of meaning in your life. We have to be curious enough to ask ourselves, how much responsibility have I put on this person to give meaning to my life when that shouldn't be there? Listen, y'all, I have to tell you this. When you're in close connections and relationships with people, attachment is part of building relationships. We do not grow close, intimate connections with people, and intimacy goes further than sex. When we build close relationships with people, attachment is a part of the game. The question becomes, how do we attach? And how we attach is through a lane of security where I'm full, you're full. When we come together, we overflow. The best kind of relationships is when two people come together and say, I don't need you and I want you. And we now come together pouring into each other's cup, running overflow. Okay. But that doesn't happen unless I take responsibility for what exactly fills me up. So that way I can show up best in this relationship for myself and consequently for one another. Attachment is a part of the game. The question is, how do we attach? And security is less about something that you arrive at. It is a rhythm you build through consistent reflections of systemizations. Okay. It is a systemized rhythm that gives you permission to repair quicker from moments of disappointment, hurt, pain, lack, and gets you back to an emotional baseline that's steady and that's consistent. Please do not let people fool you into believing that security is all about what you arrive to. And you have to constantly strive and constantly go, and and you got to be careful of the stuff that you digest that constantly reminds you that you're worth nothing, because you'll constantly be performing for something that is already given to you that you have to lean closer in. That means you need to let go of the things that you're giving so much meaning to and rest in the meaning that's already given to your life. Oh my God. Good God from Zion. I hope y'all are hearing. I hope y'all are hearing. Getting over rejection has so much more to do with the stories that you're giving to the experience than it is about some wound that is just impossible to heal from. That is the name of the game. Secure people attach a new meaning to rejection. It doesn't mean rejection is no longer part of their life. And I think consequently, you'll actually realize that the more that you attach a new meaning and reframing to the experience of rejection, the more permission you give yourself to not make a life out of rejection wounds. If rejection isn't the struggle, plug this into correction. Because some of us have a big struggle with correction. You don't like being corrected because it takes you back to believing that in the moment that you did something wrong that somebody calls out, now I feel like I get everything wrong and I'm not enough. Still the same crux, just shown differently. If it's not correction, it's not rejection. Okay. It's abandonment, because somebody walking away out of my life is consequently meaning that I'm not enough for life itself. We can talk about where this comes from. We can talk about how this reflects childhood wounds. We can talk about all these things. And we can also engage in something different that allows us to move forward, not without us minimizing feelings, not pushing that stuff to the side. All of that stuff is included. But some of us have made a life out of feelings. And even though we're singing songs from Olivia Dean talking about a couple minutes before I go back to real life, some of y'all have been there for a couple years. And it's been a little too long. Love Olivia Dean. I ain't hating on her music. That girl good. She cooking something special. But y'all still thinking about somebody that left you 3-4 years ago when you sing that song. And then when you run into somebody who actually has capacity for you, you tell them you're not ready because you ain't over somebody that you have yet to let go of. And you're missing out on opportunities that make sense for you because you're still trying to chase some type of reconciliation, closure, whatever it is that you're trying to tell yourself you need from somebody that is no longer in your life and has moved on. And while they're getting sleep, you're moving restless. How do we get over rejection in a secure manner, y'all? We move in self-awareness. We respond instead of react. We look at rejection as feedback. And we learn to have fun. That allows us to move in a fulfilled way. That allows us to actually reframe the story. And that gives us permission to let go instead of identifying with what rejection has cultivated in our lives. Simply because somebody says no to you doesn't mean that it means everything negative about you. Just because somebody says no to you does not mean that you now have no identity, you have no stability, and no availability. No one wants you. We have to be able to catch those stories in the moment that we are quick to express them so we can live on. Because oftentimes you don't fear rejection like you say you do. People that say, I have a fear of rejection, I have a fear of being told, not even just saying being told no, I have a fear of somebody just, investing into me and then all of a sudden walking away. You don't necessarily fear that. You fear your ability to handle it. Rejection isn't the issue. It's your ability to handle the weight that may show up as it comes to somebody telling you no. And when we build the confidence to handle that weight, now all of a sudden rejection doesn't have as much weight on us, without being too repetitive. It doesn't hold as much to us as it used to. Y'all, when you go to the weight room, for all of my gym goers, Some of you will go to the weight room and see a 45-pound plate on each side of the bar for bench press, and you like, oh, this is a warm up. There is no part of you that is doubting your ability to lift that off the weight, lift that off the rack. If it's not bench press, it's squat. If it's not squat, it's deadlift, whatever. You go there and you're like, shoot, I got this in the bag. I'm warming up. There's no part of you that is worried because you can handle and move the weight securely and comfortably at a good pace. But for some of us, instead of a plate being there, you might walk in and see somebody doing that with 3, 4, 5 plates on each side of the bar. And now you're starting to sweat. Because I don't know, if I don't have a spotter, how I'm going to make it out of this alive. You don't fear the weight. What you fear is your ability to handle it without it crushing you so you can lift it securely. But get this, how do we get to lifting more weight? The 3, 4, 5 plates on each side of the bar, bench press, squat, deadlift, hang clean, whatever we doing. It is us getting into the gym and getting the reps in so that we can continue to build the muscle that is required for us to have greater endurance to hold that kind of weight. You will not get better with rejection if you remain behind closed doors, afraid of people, excommunicating people, quickly cutting off people, and not putting yourself in position to engage with relationships around you. You're not going to overcome rejection if you tell yourself, I need to overcome my wound of rejection before I date again. You're missing the point. You're missing the point. We have to put ourselves in position to experience these levels of rejection so that we know where we're at, so we give ourselves the ability to overcome it healthily. And wherever you are, if you're not here at this secure lane, this is not to add more shame and guilt every time you experience rejection and you don't respond or you aren't moving in self-awareness. What's up, Will? Good to see you. Y'all, please go show my boy Will Diggs some love. All right. Phenomenal coach in this space. Y'all, please go show him some love. Click his profile, follow him, all the things. Okay. If you are not moving and looking at rejection as feedback, if you are not operating immediately in self-awareness, if you're not immediately responding, but instead you're reacting, it takes you a little while before you get to responding, where you're ruminating on the thought of not being enough, not being wanted. It's too late. Time is ticking. You're getting older. And the story of you being older means people don't want you, whatever it is that we're establishing that to. Maybe you're not quick to have fun with it. That does not mean that you're failing. Your awareness to those things and then your ability to make the decision to shift states and engage in it differently is what the win is. 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, not 0 to 100. A lot of y'all are hearing this conversation and you're going to have to hear it repetitively a few different times so you can actually engage in it in a different way. That's cool. That's a part of the game. Let's not engage in this level of constant condemnation, guilt, and shame, because after hearing this conversation, I got rejected and I didn't respond in the way that Coach Sean described. It's like, okay, I'm aware. This is where I'm at. This is what's happening. And I'm getting reps in the game. Reps is all that matters. Stephen Curry did not become the greatest shooter of all time getting into the gym once and knocking down 1,000,000 threes. It came gym session after gym session. It was years of work. I'm not saying it's got to take years of work for you, but I'm just saying every day meant something. It was sowing. All work works, whether it works on you or in you. Reps is all that matters because it's what is cultivating the capacity for you to deal with more as more shows up. That's it. Any questions?